The morning sunlight slipped through the cream curtains of the Washington penthouse, scattering gold across the sheets where Eliana lay with her head resting on Jordan's chest. The hum of the city far below felt distant here, replaced by the rhythm of his heartbeat beneath her ear. Jordan stirred, his hand brushing the soft curls from her forehead. "You're awake already?" he murmured, voice heavy with sleep. "I like watching you before the day starts," Eliana whispered, her lips curving in a small smile. "You look peaceful, like nothing can touch us." He chuckled, fingers tracing lazy circles on her arm. "That's because, for a moment, nothing can. Just you, me, and the city trying to wake up without us." Their mornings had become sacred, a quiet pause before the chaos of business meetings and deadlines. Jordan, CEO of Venturize Media, and Eliana, a graphic designer who'd climbed from intern to lead creative, had been married for 3 years. And though success followed them, so did whispers about how love rarely survived the climb. But they didn't care. Every touch, every shared coffee mug, every stolen kiss before work reminded them they were still choosing each other. Eliana slid out of bed and moved toward the window, tying her silk robe. The skyline reflected in the glass, and for a fleeting second, she caught Jordan watching her. The look in his eyes, tender, unwavering, was still the same one that made her knees weak years ago when he first told her he loved her under the rain. "Don't look at me like that," she teased. "You'll make me late for work." He grinned. "You're my favorite view. Deadlines can wait." She turned, walking toward him with a sly smirk. "You said that yesterday. And I'll say it tomorrow," he said, pulling her into his arms. They kissed, a slow, knowing kiss that spoke of years of shared laughter, silent arguments, and love that refused to dim. It was the kind of moment that made ordinary days feel cinematic. Later that morning, Eliana arrived at Venturize, where the hum of creativity buzzed through every corridor. The walls were lined with sleek frames of past campaigns, projects that had made the company a name in advertising. Her designs were among them. As she made her way to her office, she passed a young woman she hadn't seen before. A new face, polished, with a faint smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Morning," Eliana greeted. The woman turned, her tone polite. "Good morning, ma'am. I'm Ava, Mr. Washington's new executive secretary." "Oh," Eliana said, caught off guard for a moment. "Welcome aboard. I hope the team's treating you well." Ava's lips curved slightly. "They are. And I've heard so much about you." Eliana nodded and moved along, unaware that Ava's gaze followed her a little too long. By noon, Eliana and Jordan met in the conference room to discuss a joint project. A rare overlap between her creative team and his management unit. It was supposed to be a quick update, but their synergy was magnetic. While the boardroom buzzed with conversation, their unspoken rhythm spoke louder. Her ideas flowed, his decisions refined them, and together they created brilliance. Ava stood by the glass door, watching as Jordan leaned in to whisper something to Eliana, a teasing remark that made her laugh softly. Something about that laugh made Ava's jaw tighten. When the meeting ended, Ava stepped forward. "Mr. Washington, would you like me to finalize the minutes now?" "Yes, thank you," Jordan said before turning to Eliana. "Lunch after this? There's that little bistro you love near Fifth Avenue." "I'll hold you to that," Eliana replied with a wink. Ava's polite smile faltered for a second. "Should I reserve a table?" "No need," Jordan said. "It's our usual spot." Ava nodded, but her eyes darkened slightly as she walked away. That evening, over pasta and soft jazz, Jordan reached across the table, his fingers brushing Eliana's. "You know, sometimes I still can't believe you said yes to me." She laughed. "You mean after you spilled coffee on my sketchbook during our first meeting?" He winced. "I was nervous. You were distracting." Eliana raised an eyebrow. "You were my boss." "Still am," he teased. "Not outside office hours," she shot back, smiling. Their laughter melted into the warmth of the night. For them, love wasn't just grand gestures, it was found in small things. The way he listened, the way she believed in his dreams, the way they both made room for each other in a world that never stopped demanding more. Back home, Jordan got a call while Eliana prepared tea. He excused himself to the study. It was Ava, her tone brisk. "Mr. Washington, I just wanted to confirm tomorrow's itinerary." "It's fine, Ava. We'll finalize it in the morning." "Yes, of course. Sorry for disturbing you this late," she said softly, though her voice carried a strange undercurrent. "You sound happy." "I am," he replied, almost amused. "Good night, Ava." When he returned to the living room, Eliana handed him his cup. "Work?" He shrugged. "Just Ava double-checking tomorrow's plan." She's diligent. Eliana smiled, unaware of the tension that lingered faintly in his tone. Good, she said. You need someone who can handle your chaos. He smiled back. I already have that someone. She laughed, curling up beside him on the couch. The next day at the office, Ava stood beside Jordan's desk, subtly leaning closer than necessary. Your wife's presentation yesterday was impressive, she said. It's rare to see couples working together so seamlessly. Jordan smiled politely. We've had practice. I imagine it must be intense, Ava continued, eyes meeting his. Balancing work and marriage, especially when everyone expects perfection. Jordan nodded, distracted by an incoming call. It has its challenges, but Eliana and I manage. Ava's lips curved. That's admirable. As she left his office, her heels clicking against the polished floor, her thoughts whispered darker things. She doesn't deserve all of him. That evening, Jordan found Eliana sketching by the window, lost in her world of colors. He wrapped his arms around her from behind. Long day? She asked, leaning into him. But it's better now. She smiled faintly. I think Ava's finding her rhythm. She seems very efficient. She is, Jordan said, tightening his hold slightly. But she's different. Eliana turned to face him. Different how? He hesitated. Nothing. Just observant. Jordan. He met her eyes. Forget it, love. She's new. Maybe I'm overthinking. Eliana studied him for a moment, then kissed him softly. You always overthink. That's my job to fix. They laughed, the tension melting into the air between them. But that night, while Eliana slept soundly, Jordan's phone lit up again. Ava's name flashing across the screen. Ava, couldn't sleep. Just wanted to thank you for believing in me. It means more than you know. He stared at the message, frowning. He didn't reply. A moment later, another text arrived. Ava, I hope Eliana knows how lucky she is. He sighed, setting the phone face down. Beside him, Eliana stirred in her sleep, her hand instinctively finding his. He squeezed it gently. I know how lucky I am, he whispered. But outside their quiet cocoon of love, something was beginning to stir, soft as a whisper, dangerous as obsession. The rain came before dawn, the kind that made the city hum in gray silence. Eliana stirred, half asleep, reaching for Jordan. His side of the bed was cold. She rose quietly, her robe slipping around her shoulders as she padded into the study. There he was, head in his hands, the glow of his phone screen flickering against his face. Jordan, she whispered. He looked up, startled. You're awake. You weren't in bed, she said softly. Is something wrong? He hesitated, thumb grazing the phone before turning it face down. Nothing serious, just work. Go back to sleep. But the tension in his shoulders betrayed him. Eliana stepped closer, her gaze lowering to the screen for just a second, enough to see a name she'd begun to notice more often. Eva. Her stomach tightened. Work, she repeated slowly. At 3 in the morning? Jordan sighed. She's been under pressure lately. Big client pitch tomorrow. She needed advice. Advice or attention? The question escaped before she could stop it. He looked up sharply. Eliana. No, it's fine, she said, voice brittle. You're the boss. She's your secretary. I shouldn't assume things. He stood, reaching for her hand. Don't do that. Don't shut down on me. She met his eyes, steady, hurt, uncertain. Then tell me I'm wrong. He didn't answer fast enough. Silence filled the space between them, heavier than truth. By morning, she was gone before he woke. A note on the counter read, I need air. Don't call. I just need to think. Jordan clenched the paper, guilt curling in his chest. He hadn't done anything wrong, not really, but somehow he'd allowed something wrong to feel right for too long. The texts, the subtle smiles, the attention, all harmless until it wasn't. Eliana drove aimlessly until the city gave way to the coast. The same place he'd proposed years ago, under the same gray sky, with his laughter wrapped around her like a promise. She parked by the shore, tears spilling as the wind tangled her curls. How had something so safe begun to feel fragile? Love, she realized, wasn't destroyed by grand betrayals. It eroded in silence, piece by piece, when words were left unsaid. At Venturize, Ava stood in front of the mirror in the private restroom, reapplying lipstick. Her reflection smiled back, poised, perfect, practiced. She adjusted her blouse and whispered to her own image, he's slipping away from her. Finally, she walked into Jordan's office, carrying coffee and a careful expression. Rough morning? He didn't look up. You could say that. I saw your wife leave early, Ava said lightly. Everything okay? Jordan's head snapped up. How do you know she left early? A faint smirk. Security cameras. I like to stay aware. He leaned back, eyes narrowing. You're overstepping, Ava? Her tone softened immediately. I just care. You've been stressed and I hate seeing you like this. That's not your concern, he said firmly. But Ava stepped closer, lowering her voice. You think she understands what you carry? The pressure? The sacrifices? I see you, Jordan. I see the man who works until his heart hurts. He stood abruptly. Enough. Her smile wavered, confusion flashing into anger. I'm not your enemy. I'm the one who actually listens. Jordan's tone hardened. You're my employee. Nothing more. The rejection hit her like a slap. She swallowed, nodding stiffly. Of course, Mr. Washington. She turned and left, her calm steps masking the chaos blooming inside her. That night, Eliana returned home. She found the apartment silent, save for the low hum of rain. Jordan was on the balcony, drenched, staring into nothing. The sight broke something in her. Jordan, she whispered. He turned, relief flooding his face. Eliana. Thank God. I needed space, she said softly. Not distance. He crossed the space between them in 2 strides. I know. I'm sorry. For the texts, for not setting boundaries sooner. Her eyes glistened. Did you love her attention? He hesitated, honesty warring with fear. For a moment, it felt easy. No expectations. But it was empty, Eliana. I didn't see her. I saw someone filling the cracks I refused to face. She exhaled shakily, tears mixing with the rain. And what about us? I never stopped loving you, he said. Not once. He took her face in his hands, desperate. You are my reason, Eliana. Everything else was just noise. Her tears fell freely, but her lips trembled into a fragile smile. Then let's stop letting noise drown us. He pulled her close, their foreheads resting together as thunder rolled above. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was something better, truth. The next morning, Ava didn't show up to work. By noon, the HR director informed Jordan that she had resigned via email. No explanation, no notice. Relief washed over him, but unease lingered. That evening, a message pinged his phone. Ava, you made your choice. I hope she's worth what you're about to lose. His chest tightened. He immediately dialed Eliana. Where are you? At home, why? Lock the doors. She froze. Jordan, what's going on? Just do it, he said, grabbing his keys. When he reached their apartment, the lights were out, except for a flicker from the living room. Inside, Eliana stood tense, phone in hand. Someone left this at the door, she whispered. It was a small box tied with red ribbon. Inside, photos. Dozens of them. Pictures of Jordan at the office, leaving meetings, laughing, dining. Every angle of his life documented. And among them, one photo of Eliana, asleep in their bed. Her breath hitched. She was here. Jordan's jaw clenched. It's over. I'll handle this. He contacted security and law enforcement. By dawn, Ava had been traced, found in a motel 2 towns away, muttering to herself about love unappreciated. It was over, but the scar remained. Weeks passed. The noise died down. Work resumed. But in quiet moments, Eliana still felt shadows. Until one night, Jordan surprised her with a box, not of flowers or jewels, but of sketches. Her sketches. He'd found them, the old ones from when they first met. The spilled coffee marks, the torn pages. You kept these? She whispered. Every one, he said softly. Because they remind me of when we were just us. Before success, before rumors, before everything tried to pull us apart. She looked up, eyes shining. You're still that man. He smiled. And you're still my reason. He reached into the box again and pulled out an envelope. One last thing. Inside was a plane ticket. 2 actually. Destination, Paris. She gasped. Jordan? He took her hands. Let's start over, Eliana. New city. New air. No secrets. Tears welled up, but this time they were warm, not heavy. You really think we can just start again? He nodded. Love doesn't restart. It remembers. She smiled through tears. Then let's remember everything, the good and the hard. In Paris, under soft streetlights and distant violins, they walked hand in hand along the Seine. The wind carried laughter from nearby cafes. The river shimmered. The world felt alive again. Jordan stopped and turned to her. Do you still love me? She smiled. Even when I shouldn't. He cupped her cheek. Then we're still us. They kissed, slow, sure healing. In that moment, the past didn't matter. The storms, the silence, the sleepless nights, they had all led here, to the place where love had learned to breathe again. And though their story had scars, it also had light, the kind that only hearts that have been broken and rebuilt can truly hold. As they walked away, hand in hand, the night whispered their truth. Real love isn't about never falling apart. It's about finding the courage to rebuild, again and again, with the same heart.